Alright, tournament is moving along and we're now really into the weeds here. I am, at this point, 7-3? Yeah, I started the day out 3-0, so I'm 7-3 at this point. I need to go 10-5. So I'm looking really hot here. I'm about to hopefully clinch my 4th win in a row in Historic, which would lead me at a 6-1 record with Heliod. So that's what I'm really looking for, and that should put me in a great spot to get the qualification for the next one. Maybe even top 8 if I completely run the tables on the day. So, very exciting. I just beat 2 control decks, and I'm kind of like pumped up. I'm like, no control deck should stand in my way. And I meet another control deck. This is even Grzegorz Kowalski, so a great player too. Part of the, I think, Rivals League right now. And maybe he's not actually part of the Rivals League anymore. Well, who knows? Anyway, a great player nonetheless. Like 2nd at the World Championship, and a former part of the MPL. Like, kind of speaks for itself. And here we see his deck, which is also Jeskai control, like the one I just played against. But instead of playing the Torrential Gearhulk Magma Opus style, this deck eschews that combo to get to play main deck Grafticus Cage, which is a pretty great choice right now. There's a lot of like graveyard decks and or Collected Company in the format. So, or Torrential Gearhulk, right? Like there's, every deck gets hosted by Grafticus Cage in some way or another. So getting to play that main deck and control deck, I think is really good. And this version also is chock full of 1 mana interaction with 4 portable holes and 1 unholy heat to like make your expressive iterations really good. Now, when you don't have the Torrential Gearhulk plus Opus win condition, you need something else. And this deck boasts 3 Shock Typhoon and a Hullbreaker Horror, as well as 3 Hold to Fairy. Also with like Narset as a way to gain card advantage. Plus, it also has 2 Wrath of God on top of the Anger of the Gods. So it's more controlling. Like there's definitely less finicky elements. My opponent's not gonna just be stuck on like 8 mana cards in your hand. But I don't think it's a but. There's nothing good about this. I don't have like the not draw with the Magma Opus, but definitely prefer to play against that version. I think, especially after having faced both. One good thing here actually is that I did test against this specific list. So Grzegorz posted his list on Twitter a few days before the tournament, and I was doing the week where I was still trying to like play every matchup with Heliod, trying to just know like how am I supposed to play in sideboard and so on in like the various matchups. And I had not played much against control. I knew the matchup would be really bad, so I didn't spend too much time on it. But I figured I would at least play some matches just so I have an idea of what to do. And we decided to just play against Grzegorz deck, even though he's the only one playing this exact list in the tournament. It's just, at least it's something that's tuned for the historic metagame. And so I actually have developed sideboard plans specifically for this matchup, which definitely helps. In some of the matches I played, I actually managed to win with the combo in game 1. It is pretty hard though, especially since this version also have Wrath of God, so they can actually clear a Scurry Oak. But sometimes they don't have it. I think it's pretty important to point out that while this deck runs 2 Anger in the main deck and 1 more in the sideboard, it only has 13 red sources. 1 Sacred Foundry, 4 Steamwind, 4 Sulphur Falls, 4 Valkyrie Triumph. 13 red sources. Usually you would need like 18, preferably 19, to play Anger of the Gods on turn 3. But this deck only has 13. So that is one weakness, right? It's trying to play both Anger of the Gods and Wrath of God and Archmage's Charm in the same deck. And that's kind of what you get for that. Like you only get 4 Valkyrie Triumph. So it's not easy to meet all those mana requirements. And that is one of the downsides of this version of the deck. Anyway, not much changes post-board. There's just like some, incidental removal spells that might come in handy. But anyway, let's see how it goes. I did just beat 2 control decks, so I can hopefully keep it up here. And I start out, okay, I lose the die roll, and I have this opening hand, which honestly is pretty close. It has spells and lands, which is nice. It has the Ranger Captain, which is a really good card in the matchup. But it does have 4 lands, which is on the heavy side, especially since I'm on the draw. Like when you draw your 5th land early, you're just so low on spells. So that's something that's not great. Another thing that's kind of not great here is that I have myself a Saber. Like it's both a plus and a minus, but it doesn't protect from Portable Hole. And usually it's what I want to go get from my Ranger Captain. But so Ranger Captain will now have less value in my hand than it normally has, because I can't go get the best the best card for me to get against control decks, which is the one Selfless Savior. So I'm gonna have to go get like a Luminarch aspirant, veteran, Luminarch veteran. It's not called Luminarch, right? It's Luminous veteran. I don't even know. I keep getting them confused, but one of them is like, you know, Moon veteran, and the other one is Light aspirant. So it's like, maybe it's Luna something. I don't even know. Or maybe yeah. Okay, I have no idea. Regardless, the one drop that gains me life whenever something comes into play. There we go. That's the tea. Yeah. So Ranger Captain is worse than it usually is. I have 4 lands. I don't have a payoff, which is, I keep saying this, but it's really important to have one of your payoffs in your opening hand. Your 2-drops, your Healer, your Collector Company. So all in all, I actually think I should mulligan this hand. It doesn't look too bad, right? You have Ranger Captain and Selfless Savior, and those are good cards against control, but I think we can do better, and I think we have to gamble to have a really good draw. I think it's pretty close though, so like no fault if you actually keep it. And this deck doesn't mulligan too well anyway. So I do decide to keep this hand, hoping to get lucky, I guess. Again, you know, at least I have the lands to cast Company, so maybe I can draw a Company. That's nice. So here I lead off on Selfless Savior on turn 1. Okay, that's actually very interesting. Yeah, so I was thinking when I rewatched this match that it might have been a mistake, but we'll see how it plays out. Essentially, if my opponent has a Portable Hole, he's gonna use it on the Selfless Savior, and then my Soul Warden is free to rain. I do start by just no Portable Hole coming in here, and okay, there's an Unholy Heat, and now I drew another Lunar Veteran, and this is the draw that really punishes me for leading on Selfless Savior. So when I was analyzing this game just before, I thought actually that I had the Luminous, what is it called? Lunarch Veteran, not Luminous, just Lunarch, because that's, you know, Luna means moon, and that makes sense, because we're on Innistrad, and Innistrad has a moon. That's very important. All right, focus here. Back to the game. If I had both of these in my opening hand here, or at least like in my hand on turn 2, I think playing Selfless Savior out is wrong, because I can't play both my Soul Warden and my Lunarch Veteran, because then the opponent can just anchor it. So I don't really want to like overextend both of them here. However, if I had led on, let's say, a Lunarch Veteran, and then I go Selfless Savior, my opponent's gonna respond with an Unholy Heat, killing my Lunarch Veteran, and then I go Soul Warden, and now I'm actually protected from Anger of the Gods. If it's, obviously it could have easily been like Lightning Helix instead of this one, but if it's Portable Hole, well, they're just gonna Portable Hole my Lunarch Veteran, and I'm still in the same spot, right, where I can go Selfless Savior into Soul Warden. So I think that leaves me in a better spot, honestly, but I wonder if I'm actually supposed to play out my Soul Warden regardless with my opening hand. I do think that would have worked out a lot better, because I'm going to assume that what would happen is that the same thing happens, right? They kill my Soul Warden in response to my Selfless Savior, and I get to play Lunarch Veteran. But the reason that that might be the case is because Ranger Captain can find me a 1-drop anyway. And maybe keeping Selfless Savior around is more important, because it's pretty nice that whenever they cast a sweeper that you get to keep something behind. So I don't know, my opponent is on the play though, so they can't Archmage's Charm my Ranger Captain, like that's worth noting. But I also have a Company that can maybe hit life gain. Not having life gain is pretty bad, so if I'm stuck with like a Selfless Savior and I need ways to gain life to kind of form my combo, then that's awkward. But then again, like Selfless Savior just protecting some random 2/2s can actually be a game plan sometimes in these matchups. So I'm actually not sure if I'm supposed to play Selfless Savior on turn 1 here or not. I think if I had the Lunarch Veteran in hand, I definitely was supposed to lead with the Lunarch Veteran. But I don't know. At least it would have made a big difference to this game if I was able to just play out 2 things here. Like have Selfless Savior and a Soul Warden in play right now. Expressive Iteration is neat. That means my Ranger Captain's gonna survive, or like, not gonna get countered. So that's very important. And yeah, I guess that at least sets me up pretty well. And obviously also put, ooh, nice. Okay, second Company is big game. It also, pretty happy that I did not play out Soul Warden here. At least I'm pretty sure you can't do that, because like right now I'm just so vulnerable to Wrath and Anger of the Gods if I played it out. Whereas now it's kind of awkward for my opponent to cast that. So they're gonna have to leave my things in play. Maybe. But yeah, if I had a Selfless Savior here, I could just like, you know, protect my Soul Warden. Or like my Lunar Veteran. So now I just get to just main phase company. But yeah, if I got into like, you know, protect that, then maybe I would have actually gotten the full combo. Right? So if I lead on Soul Warden here, and they kill that in response to my Selfless Savior, and I play a second Soul Warden effect, and then I play the Ranger Captain, and they anger it away, and I keep my Soul Warden alive, and then I hit these, and it's like, you know, like now you gotta have a Wrath of God, and you don't have double white here. So I don't hit that, however, but since I have like the other pieces of the combo, I'm just gonna go get Heliod and I think Scurry Oak here, and just threaten the combo, so that he's forced to react to that. And also, he does not have yeah, he does not. Portable Hole is one of his main removal spells, and that one doesn't kill Scurry Oak, right? So that could be an advantage here. There's some thinking being done, though, on exactly how to approach this. And yeah, it is very threatening, right? Like, you know, maybe you can just ignore it, like maybe that's okay, but you don't really know. At least like my Selfless Savior is gone, so it's hard for me to just protect. But here comes the Fairy. Okay, so I was kind of fearing this, but he can't actually minus on my Heliod, because then the Scurry Oak just comes in and kills the Fairy. And he can't really plus it, because that leaves him very vulnerable to my combo. So he decides to minus on my Scurry Oak here, which is actually totally fine, because I have company, so I can just hit it right away again. And play my Lunar Veteran. So I wonder if that was part of his thinking, is that like I would be able to go Lunar Veteran and then like play a second Scurry Oak, or if I had another company, I could do that as well. Yeah, so I hit Scurry Oak, and I'm gonna get Voice of the Blast here, because that way, once I gain infinite life, this one is gonna be huge and indestructible. And one of his outs here is gonna be Wrath of God, and he doesn't have double white right now. He could obviously be sandbagging a white land, but it's not that likely. And the way he gets out of like this scenario would be to go Wrath of God into Portable Hole, and that is impossible due to this mana base right now. So I'm thinking that, yeah, I can just like go for the combo here, and hopefully the Teferi doesn't pull him out of it or anything. But it is pretty he needs, you know, second white source and Wrath of God, and then he's still like facing down that Voice of the West, which needs an answer too. Like maybe Shock Typhoon or something can do it, but you know, when you're in this matchup, it's not great. You just gotta take some chances, right, and hope that that you can get there. Anyway, this is gonna go on for a little while, so I am just gonna go here and move the needle a little bit so that it just goes a bit faster. I don't need to like do this too much, right? Because I just need to make sure that I can kill through like some Lightning Helix shenanigans. With the Voice of the Blessed, because that would be very awkward, right? If I just make it like at 21 power and then my opponent just goes, okay, well, Wrath of God, untap my lands, Lightning Helix your face, survive. We can't really have that happen. But yeah, now it's well above enough, so I think I'm gonna target, you know, whatever here, doesn't actually matter, and I'll just keep it at 2x speed here, and obviously a Giant Voice. All right, so do you have an answer here? Draws a card with Teferi. Let's see. Okay, first step one is second white source. And I'm taking the victory shot there. Alright. And the Wrath of God. Okay, that's not great. But at least my Voice is still alive and it's indestructible. So that's cool, I guess. He could still have a Shock Typhoon and then have a Portable Hole. So that might be kind of awkward. I'm gonna play Soul Warden here so that if he has Shock Typhoon, he has to at least like do it beforehand. Otherwise, I get, you know, a free trigger, which could definitely matter. And the Soul Warden resolves, and maybe I should also play Lunar Veteran here. I don't actually know, but regardless, I'm just gonna go for it with my Voice. Do you have a Shock Typhoon? Oh, it's the one-off commit to memory. Alright, well, I mean, I guess he had to have a very specific set of cards to beat this Voice of the Blast, but I managed to go infinite and not win the game. And actually, it is not gonna look great for me now, because now he's gonna untap with active Teferi, and I don't have much stuff. So this is not exactly looking great. Like, maybe if he bricks a little bit, I have enough pressure in play that I can like kill Teferi, and then maybe I can like sneak my way out of it. Because he like giving life into stuff and building a board is sometimes a way you can win against a flooded out control opponent. The Hall of the Storm Giants here just make it easier though. And it's even gonna be untapped now because it's a fairy, so that's kind of awkward. But I guess I can play a creature here, and that will give me a life with Soul Warden, so I can put a counter on Luminous Phantom. And then that's actually 3 power to attack the fairy. So it's not super likely that this goes well, but at least I have to try. And I'm also gonna run out the second Heliod here. It's gonna turn the other one into a creature and then die, so it actually triggers 2 things here. And I can make my, I think Skyclave Apparition a 4/4 is the best line. So play around Lightning Helix and Anger. But maybe I don't do that. Alright, I'm not sure this is the line here, honestly. But I guess like a single Lightning Helix is all squad. Oh, this way is actually pretty smart, right? Because now he has the Shock Typhoon too. But now, though, he has to have like, he can't both animate, even if he has a single Lightning Helix, he doesn't keep his Teferi alive. He can't just like animate this Hall of the Storm Giant and block the Soul Warden, but again, like his Teferi will die. Oh, and now the Shock Typhoon gets, so, well, I guess I can put a count on my Skyclave Apparition, but yeah, the Teferi is dead. Alright. And get to put another count on something, put it on Apparition. So, it's not too bad here. But there's a second Teferi. Alright, that's getting dangerous, right? Because now it's actually gonna be really hard for me to remove that Teferi. I don't have enough power in play. I can't really make a good attack. The Voice of the Blessed here will, but there's a counter spell. So they would have gotten Heliod active, but like now I don't have a good attack here. And yeah, I'm thinking that this is just game over. Because especially now, like the, Shark can block here, and the Hall of Storm Giants can block the Skyclave Apparition, so the Teferi will just get to tick up, and it's gonna be extremely hard for me to get out of this. I need like a company into the combo again. And even then, it's not even that, my opponent can still get out of it. Giannis Welcome is definitely not what I wanted to see at this point, but at least it makes some of my other top decks better. Like maybe I can grow something out of range of this Shark, but there's not much time, right? Like, like Nasa Teferi is just gonna get it over with here, and I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. There's some card draw being cast, there were some removal spells being cast. Like a Lightning Helix on my flyer here, and Portable Hole takes care of a Giannis Welcome, which makes me, now I can't combo because of that. So that's a nice play by Greg, but I'm just gonna hold the Scurio here and hope to top deck the combo pieces. But second Shark now, and Teferi is moving up, so it's really looking rather grim here. I need to top deck it right now and then have him not. Second Scurio doesn't really cut it here, huh? So now he gets to ultimate. He plays the Heartbreaker Horn, ultimate Teferi, and yeah, I do have the combo here. So, but even though I go off now, it might not even like work, right? Because he can just anger the guards and bounce the Scurio. So actually, he didn't even need to have anything other than the things shown, and he would be able to beat the combo. And yeah, the Teferi gets to exile things as well. So that's all really nice. And we can fast forward just a little bit here and get to this point where a Commit to Memory has been flashed back with its Teferi emblem and a Nazad in play, which completely locks me out of the game and doesn't actually matter that I was at 60 life or whatever I went up to, because this is just way enough damage to kill me. And the Lightning Helix for the win. So we're gonna board like we normally do against control. I'm gonna turn this down some speed again. So yeah, basically the game plan is we can shave some of the Soul Wardens. It's sometimes a liability actually, because, well, not in post-board games here because I'm boarding out the combo, but it's worth noting that the opponent can steal your Soul Warden when you try and go for the combo, and then your combo doesn't work because then they also gain a life for each squirrel. So that is important to know. But anyway, against the last opponent, I did bring in Rest in Peace. Definitely not going to do that here. I boarded out my Skyclave Apparitions, but this version has 2 Grafdigger's Cage and 4 portable hole. So I actually think there are enough targets for Skyclave Apparition that I'd rather have that than keeping in a few Scurry Oaks. So those are basically the main differences here. I'm also on the play. Maybe on the draw I can board in 1 Scurry Oak instead of a Plains or something. But it's like, you know, that game I went off and I still lost, right? So you can see how, you know, I'm not thrilled about the combo against certain variants of control, depending on their exact list. Breath of God is one thing that makes it harder to actually be a combo deck. Anyway, I get to start here. I have 1, 2, 3, so that's a good hand. And now we're not a combo deck anymore. We're just like a mid-range beatdown deck, so... Alright, well, Lightning Helix kills my Giant's Pridemate. That's okay, though. I mean, I have more stuff. Especially drawing that company is a big game here. So, I'm gonna go get Selfless Savior here. Not sure that's better than getting a life gain thing, but usually it is. Just nice to have in play. And there's no guarantee that a second Ranger Captain will resolve. But yeah, pretty well set up right here. You know, have a lot of the tools that I need to put the screws to the control deck. Starting by attacking here, and yeah, this is clearly an Archmage's Charm, so I'm just gonna pass here and see what's up. It's very interesting if he tries to draw 2 end of turn, am I supposed to cast a company or not? Like, he knows I have company, and I know he has charm now, but, you know, especially if he puts it on his deck. But do I try and resolve it while the way is clear? I think since there's only 4 counterspells in the deck, and he's gonna spend one of them to draw 2, but there's also a bunch of rats in the deck, and I don't want to sacrifice my Ranger Captain here. I think I'm just gonna have to let that resolve. And hope that there's not a second Archmage's Charm. And even if there is, maybe I can still, you know, finagle myself into some good spots here. So Cage forces me to play the company. That's all. Okay, I just did a single Heliod though. Not great, but at least it's a Heliod. Like, that is, you know, I'm gonna say it again, the best card in the matchup. Actually, I think Gideon is the best card in the matchup post-board, but yeah, you get it. And the Anger of the Gods there. Okay, so actually I guess I lucked out a little bit by hitting Heliod, huh? Because a lot of my other hits would not be that good. I guess actually like Voice of the Blessed and Trilacera would have grown to 4/4, so they would also been good hits. Anyway, I draw an Ajani's Welcome off the top, which is huge. Because that lets me develop Ranger Captain while like putting counters on things. And now I'm just gonna be forced to go get a Lunark Veteran. Play Selfless Savior, and I decided to make my Ranger Captain slightly bigger, which, yeah, maybe doesn't matter. I can maybe put it out of Fry range, which might matter. But honestly, putting the count on Heliod could also matter, because you get that extra damage here. You could also argue for putting it on Selfless Savior to eventually get that out of Anger range and Lightning Helix range. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's best there. Anyways, let's we draw Johnny too. Okay, this is like really cooking with gas here. So opponent's already under a lot of pressure, and this is a lot of extra devotion. That means that my Heliod is going to survive here, or like be able to attack. So now I just gotta figure out where to place these counters. And honestly, I'm not actually sure, but the fact that there is Fry in the opponent's deck, there's only 1 copy though. But that might be something that I could play around and put the count on a Ranger Captain. My other line is to just try and get the Selfless Savior bigger, because something that could happen here is, for instance, Archmage's Charm, right? I'm pretty secure against that. If I go Johnny and gets countered, like, I just have lethal. So, the only way Archmage's Charm really matters, he can't really steal the dog, because I can just sacrifice it, and I have lethal. But he can steal the Lunark Veteran, and chump block with that. So, another line here is to try and get the Selfless Savior to a 4/4, which means it survives Anger and Lightning Helix to an extent. And if he just goes Lightning Helix and a Selfless Savior, I win as well, because then I have enough damage. So I think pushing so that Lightning Helix gaining 3 life is not enough to win here is pretty neat, and it means I have to put it on at least like one of these, but I guess it could be anything. It could also be a Shark Typhoon getting cycled to chump block, which is another good reason to put it on a Selfless Savior. But I don't need to make this huge though, so getting it out of Anger range might not matter that much compared to other lines. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not actually sure where I'm supposed to put it. Because there's like arguments for everything. If I do think about it though, one of the ways my opponent gets out of this is Fry, so I probably should have thought more about that. Because even if they get to jump like here, it's not actually that good for them. But if they can like, you know, get rid of the Selfless Savior and then like be able to sweep the board, like that might not be a great spot for me. Anyway, this Ajani will also trigger Ajani's Welcome here, and that is gonna be, you know, a big game here. And I decide to put count on Selfless Savior, that resolves. It's still within Lightning Helix range though, is the issue, and then another one here to grow it out of it. And if they Lightning Helix my Selfless Savior, yeah, I can just sacrifice it here, so that's okay. Trying to protect my veteran, doesn't actually matter what I target there, because they can just respond anyway. And I target both of these, and they have the one Fry. Yeah, so if I started by putting a counter on Ranger Captain, it would be a bit awkward for them. Because they would have had to, in order to survive, they would have had to Lightning Helix my dog. I sacrifice it in response, targeting the Ranger Captain. In response, they fry the Ranger Captain. And then I still have like my other triggers to build something else up. Doesn't matter too much though, but it could matter. Because like the way they get out of this is a Wrath of God anyway, but they just have a Teferi. So no Wrath this time, and I do manage to win this game. Alright, on to game 3 here. Pretty exciting. I'm pretty hyped that like maybe I can get there against Control. Because that would be sick, right? If you win like 3 matches against Control in a row. So hoping for that result here. And I don't really change much in sideboarding. Maybe I should have caught a land, bought it in a Scurry Oak. I think that's actually a reasonable line. But anyway, we see this beautiful hand. It's especially beautiful because I have the one Gideon. So, you know, like at this point, it's really big. There's basically no answers for Gideon, and the only thing there is like Archmage's Charm, right? So I'm gonna try, actually, and normally I would not play out both my Soul Sisters here, but I'm going to try and bait out an Anger so that I can resolve my Gideon. Which, not actually sure that's a good line, because honestly I could also bait out the Archmage's Charm by playing Heliod, and I have 2 Heliods, and the second one is just a dead card, essentially. So maybe I'm not supposed to extend into Anger here. Maybe I'm actually supposed to just pass there. It's actually interesting. I'm thinking that I just need to resolve this Gideon. But now's the Expressive Iteration, and I get kind of punished, right? Because I don't want to have 2 Soul Ward effects in play. And now I'm stuck with that. But on the other hand, I get to resolve a Gideon. So it's not really much my opponent can do against that. And I even draw a Ranger Captain. So looking pretty sick here. I decided to play pre-combat, which I probably shouldn't have done, but whatever. If the opponent has like Unholy Heat, then they can Unholy Heat the Gideon and then untap and Lightning Helix it. Whereas if I attack first, maybe the Unholy Heat my guy. I don't know. Anyhow, they do have the one copy of Fry. That is the only answer to Gideon outside of like Commit to Memory, which doesn't really answer it. So okay, to be fair, Gideon is also a one-off in my deck, and I had it, so you know, maybe it's fine that they get to also have their answer to it. But I do really regret here that I have these both of these Soul Warden effects in play. I could play a Janish Pridemate, which is the least mana efficient way, but that way I at least get to have something in play against an Anger of the Gods, which would be nice. I could play a Ranger Captain. That's really bad against Anger though. Even if I go get a Selfless Savior, maybe that's fine actually. I'm not sure. Maybe that's okay. But like that's at least like one of the best lines against the Teferi. But actually just going Heliod here is also a really good line against Teferi, because I would get to like play some stuff and put some counters on my guys and attack Teferi. So yeah, that would be really good too. And I think the Heliod line is best. It's just the best against the Sweeper here, but obviously it is kind of a downside that, you know, I'm gonna lose both my Soul Warden effects to a Sweeper here. If there's one, especially Anger would be brutal. Yeah, so that is the Anger. Okay, and a tap line. I do draw an Ajani's Welcome, so that's really big here. The question is, which one do I follow up with? Is it Pridemate or Ranger Captain? I decided to go for Ranger Captain, which I think is okay. At least like it's a better one to resolve against an Archmage's Charm. And I can pull it out of range of another anchor, or... It's also better against portable hold, by the way, because, yeah. So I think, actually, in a lot of sense, it's better. It's just kind of awkward against Teferi, though. Teferi minus on the Ranger Captain. Then I need something very specific. Like drawing another Ranger Captain, or another 1-drop, or a Voice of the Blast. Like something that gets my Heliod active, basically, in order to kill the Teferi. Because if you let them untap with Teferi, you're not in a great spot. Regardless, though, I think there are a lot of good things here. So he misses a land drop, so he has 6 spells in hand now. That's a bit scary, honestly. Like when they hit to the 5th lineup and then stop, and like, you know, they have no spell that costs more than 5. At least it's hard as a double spell. I draw a land here. So the question is, how much do I develop here? At least, I need to play at least something, because I need to get this Heliod online. And as long as I can set up to play around an anchor, that should be fine. It is worth noting that I chose to get a Lunark Veteran here instead of a Selfless Saver. It's very possible the Selfless Saver was the best thing to get, since the Ajani's Welcome is still here. And I don't actually need the Lunark Veteran. Right, because I don't think I had gone through the Selfless Savior yet. So maybe that's actually a big mistake here, and I should have gone for Selfless Savior. Because then I play a Ajani's Bridemaid into Selfless Savior, or maybe the other way around even. And yeah, my opponent's really tanking on his Bridemaid though, so that's very interesting. What they could have. But they do have 6 cards in hand, so probably a lot of options here. If they decide to Unholy Heat my Veteran, alright. I guess that would be the same as killing a Selfless Savior, huh? So it wouldn't actually have mattered. Yeah, it would not have mattered. Actually, it's better that it's a Lunark Veteran, because I can at least flash that back. Alright, I still get some value. I decided to put the count on the Ranger Captain, because my Bridemaid is going to be a 4/4 when I flashback this Lunark Veteran, which I'm thinking I need to do. It doesn't add Devotion, though. It's important. On the back side, it has no mana symbol. Even though it has a CMC of 2, like the front side, it doesn't have the mana cost of the front side. So Justice Strike. Okay. That's actually really awkward. That was the that was the only other answer to my card. Once it gets that big. So yeah, now we're kind of in trouble. I mean, I do have a board here. I'm still good against the Fairy, but if there's a sweeper here, it can't be Anger. It has to be Wrath of God. Shit. Okay, well, yeah, now we're really out of stuff. Okay, I do draw Terrasera, so maybe that can help me get somewhere. I can make it a 4/4 as well, so it's out of range. Probably can't afford to score Lunark Veteran to the top. So now we're really hoping, but we know he has a ton of spells in hand, and there's the Teferi, and that means he's gonna get to untap with it, right? Like in basically every circumstance. Oh, I can draw Company, right? I can draw Company. No, I draw Plains here, and now we really like see the punishment of drawing 2 Heliod here, just getting stuck in hand, and now he gets to untap with Teferi, and that is a handful of spells, I know, right? So this is just not gonna go well. Naza gets me somewhere. I get to get an Ajani into play, but it doesn't really do much here. At least not against these Planeswalkers. There's a Wrath of God showing even. A second one, and there's a Lightning Helix. Alright. So that's gone. I guess we still have an Ajani play at least. And my Healer is pretty close to active. So hopefully they can't do anything about that. They're just really thinking here. And he has another Lightning Helix to take out the Ajani. Alright, I think he was just like worried about the combo, but he really doesn't have to be, I guess, in most cases here. Teferi up to 3. And now I can just play the Trellisera again that was put on top. But the Wrath of God answers it, and there's this like Hall of the Storm Giants too. Another Lightning Helix, yeah. That's just gonna be game. Like now he gets to untap with so much advantage here. And even has to commit to memory. That's actually like an okay thing, right? But not really, since I don't get to... Oh, right. Memory too. Yeah. That is that is gonna be defeat here. We're just gonna jump towards the death. So it felt like it was really close. I feel like I could have won game 1 by playing the right thing on turn, by playing the right card on turn 1, but I'm not even sure that's the right play on turn 1 is the issue. Just like based on what I drew, it was better to lead on Soul Warden rather than Selfless Savior. But I think in a lot of other cases that's not true, so yeah, maybe I did the right play. I just got punished a little bit. So that might be true. And here, like, I could have gotten a Selfless Savior, which I think I should have, but it wouldn't actually have made a difference. So I'm not really sure. I did make a slight misplay the game before with where I could have played around a Fry, but didn't. But that didn't matter in the end, because I still got the victory. So, yeah. There's definitely like some lines you can make differently. There's also like overextending into the anger with my 2 Soul Sisters. Maybe I don't need to do that either. Regardless, I think you can see exactly how good Johnny's Welcome is in these matches. I mean, obviously it still gets hit by Portable Hole against this specific version, but the fact that you can just play out this effect and have it survive a sweeper is really good. And honestly, I think in the future I'll just have 4 in my 75. I don't think I can play all 4 main deck, but I think they are pretty good as sideboard cards. So have like 1 or 2 on the sideboard, depending on how many you play main. Anyway, that puts me down to 7 and 4. So it's a bit tight now. I have only 1 more loss to give, so I have to go 3 and 1 in standard to get the requalification. I probably can't sub 8 anymore, so now that's all that's in my sight. And yeah, I do think it's okay. I'm still going 2 and 1 against the control decks. 5 and 2 in historic. Didn't meet humans once. Actually, none of my teammates met humans once. So I guess we got a bit unlucky on the pairings there, because that's like the main reason that you play this deck. But regardless of that, yeah, I'm still pretty happy with that score, especially since like the deck might be bad. Like it did have a pretty bad win rate at the end here, and managing a good score with such a deck is pretty nice. I mean, I think part of it though is that I think this version is really tight, and I do think I have some understanding of the deck. We're still like going through a lot of misplays here, but I think at least like understanding the way of like, you know, when you're holding back combo pieces and when not to, and how to like try and bait out removal spells and all that is pretty neat. And it's the sort of thing that I'm good at, like sequencing with these synergistic creature decks. So I'm really happy that I chose the deck. Like it fits my style, and I think it is pretty good. I think it is a lot better than the data shows, or at least a little bit better than the data shows. Partly because I think this version is a lot better than the one without a Johnny's Welcome and without Ranger Captain. And I think that and I also think, actually, if you look at the data, where it's like, I think 46% win rate for Heliod over the weekend, it actually did not meet humans very much. It played against Phoenix more than played against humans, played against food variants more, and played against Jeskai Control more than it played against humans. That's every Heliod player, like, combined. So, and the humans matchup was like 78%, kind of how we expected it to be. So, I think that kind of like drags its win rate down, but you know, it would probably be like just about 50-50 if it had like met, you know, a more representative matchup spread. And I think in the future we're not going to see humans be like, what, 16% of the metagame? I think it was some number like that, pretty high. Anyway, that concludes the historic rounds here. Still 4 standard rounds to go, and I need to get it together here. I mean, I can't keep losing die rolls in standard if I need to get the 3 and 1, that's for sure. We'll see you then. Also, by the way, I need to remember, I do coaching. I have to remind you that, and the link is in the description. So if you're interested in the way I talk about games and so on, and want me to scrutinize your games the way I scrutinize my own here, you can go for that. It's on metafi.gg. You can find me. Link in the description. Bye.